Okay, this is Jacques. I think he's about 8 or 9 years old. Got another trim video of him from several months ago. Someone asked about trimming sole, so I'm going to focus a little bit on sole here. This is probably a 4-week trim. He's typically on a 3-week trim schedule, but goes 4 occasionally. So I've been trimming him for probably 6 or 7 years, so since he was 2. This is kind of a piece of bar and sole connected. That you can see is coming loose. I can kind of pry underneath it with my hook pick, and you can see what's not really wanting to come off, but comes off with just prying. Okay, it's hard stuff. It's dry. I haven't had rain for a long time, but this is his live callus sole plane right in here. This is just some retained sole that's not coming off on
because it's in the deepest part of the cavity,
yeah, right.
So it's not receiving.
Right. So, but what I'm looking at is the peripheral edge of the sole, where it meets the live callus, and that's hard stuff. It's the live callus sole, and the bottom of this collateral groove. That's what I'm looking at to know what to take out of here. Okay. Now I know this coffin bone's really deep and padded with a lot of live callus sole because I've been trimming him so long. But still, you have to be able to pick up a foot and know, what's underneath this stuff. You can't just go trim it. So, and try to bring a little more clarity to that with this video. So here, this frog is also dead retained stuff, and you can see that. Sorry, that's water.
Okay, good.
The chalky stuff there is dead frog tissue, and the more opaque stuff is live salt frog. So I'm not trimming into the live. I'm just taking the dead stuff away and to find the bottom of the collateral groove. So here I can see where they are down there, and then I can come in here and peel this sole back, this retained sole back, just help it exfoliate. It's not causing him pain, but it's probably not as comfortable as having a nice smooth sole. And then there's some bar right there that's wanting to exfoliate. And some more over here. You can see the ridges of kind of bunched up dead bar right there. It's hard to get in there though. So that's with my half rounds. And I'll just smooth everything. With my knife. Find the true tip of the frog. I'm not trying to dig down to the live callus sole. I'm trying to leave an even layer of retained sole lightly over the top of that. And smooth, because smooth feels better. Hang on, he's asking for his foot back. I want to do this before I give it back to him, because this I think feels the best for them when that little lump of junk is out of there. And if it feels better every time I give it back to him, he's more likely to give it back to me. And I'm going to take these little hooks out here so it opens a little bit when he puts his weight down. Hang on. Now he's getting a little bit antsy. So we'll give him his foot. Okay, this is still a a hard frog. It's not going to feel good to put weight on, and it's not touching the ground. But if I don't take a little bit out of there, then when I take the wall down, it'll be touching the ground. So here, I'm going to come right through here and get as much of this frog as I can with a rasp. So I'd rather do it that way. It's safer. The rasp actually kind of stops. Okay, so I'm going to come up these sides and take just the hard crusty bits off that pinch and shove up against the bar. Okay, see me do this with my knife. I'm just doing the same thing with my half rounds. Just kind of getting the dead stuff in a hard to reach place that shouldn't be overlooked just because it's hard to reach. And that's what happens a lot of times with farriers and trimmers, is they won't trim something just because it's hard to get to. And they don't have the tool to get to it, or their tool's not sharp enough. So I have people ask me all the time if they want me to soak their horse's feet before I trim, and would be to soften them up. It would be easier to do that, but it's nice to be able to, when you soften them up, when you wet them, it's hard to tell the difference between the live and the dead. It's more difficult to tell the difference between the live and the dead. So I'd rather kind of struggle through to find the exact border than to have easier work and not get it exactly where I want it. Just a preference thing. Anyway, so that's down to a little bit of retained sole covering some really firm live callus sole. And then all I've got to do here is take his quarters down. You can see that even in a month, I didn't take his heels down. He's keeping his toe worn in the right place. He's keeping his heels worn in the right place. All I have to do is take all of this stuff out that he can't get to, and then take these quarters down to the peripheral edge of the sole plane. You can see I'm not forcing that quarter arch, it's there.
And that's why horses get quarter cracks, because that's a form of self-trimming. It's just not as...
Yeah, if you don't take that arch out,
it'll break out. Then
it just starts to break, right. It's a really flexible area of the foot. He has a heel abscess right here, an old heel abscess, just from getting crooked and then too much weight on one heel than the other. But it didn't cause him any lameness, and it just kind of cracked out, and I'm trimming it out now. So, but this foot when he goes over rocks will give a little bit, and that'll give him some comfort, but it's thick enough to where it won't hurt when he does. And here's his clearance again. He still has clearance there, and he has a nice quarter arch. That clearance in the frog there, and he has a little bit of clearance right there at the widest part of the foot where the frog is. Okay, so Claudia just asked me about these cracks in here, which are superficial cracks in the retained sole. Okay, they're not, she's asking me how deep they go. There's a little bit of retained sole in the seat of corn here. I have a little bit of extra bevel I could put on the inside of this medial heel, and I'm going to go ahead and and go a little bit more, take a little bit more of this retained sole out. You see it's just chalky stuff. He's got so much thick live sole that I can go down a little deeper to the bottom of these cracks. See that? It's just a superficial layer of retained sole. And that just shows how much more depth of sole he has. That's not even connected. You can see that. This would probably be annoying if I'd left it here, jammed up in there. But it's not connected. It's just like it has a mechanical bond because of the overlapping frog and bar. Yeah, so there. It's probably good that you asked me about that, because this definitely make him feel better. But I'm not carving into live sole here. I'm just taking the dead retained stuff that I had decided to leave on to show Claudia where the bottom of these cracks are. You can see there's the...
You can see that it's a defined layer of things because the sand has gotten in between the dead and the live layer.
Yeah, so there's the live layer. He's being real still right now, so it means he really likes what I'm doing. Feels really good. So here, I'm gonna go ahead and he's got all that dead frog now. I'm not gonna leave that high. I'm gonna take that out. So there, I'm gonna get a little started into the supple stuff with my half rounds. Find the true tip of the frog. Right there. And then I'm going to take edge of dead junk off. Gotta be careful coming through or you don't nick the heel like I'm doing right there. Luckily I'm doing it in a place that needs to come off anyway, but hang on, Jacques. That's the spot right there. You have to be the most careful. But if you look, the bottom of the sole is way down here, and the central sulcus is way up here, so I got plenty of room to go in there. But just if you don't have that much sole, you can't come in here and be that aggressive.
If you don't have concavity or collateral groove depth, if the foot's flat, then
you can't
the
do that.
corium of the frog is really close to the surface.
Yeah. So there's the cracks coming out. I don't normally think that that's necessary to do in this case. I'm glad that Claudia asked that, because I think this is gonna be a lot more comfortable for him, and the trim will last. The comfort of the trim will last longer too.
What do you think, Chuck? Yeah.
Okay.
I was just gonna get some
Around the edges.
before you start taking it away. But...
Let me put that piece back on.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Okay. So this one's even more obvious as far as what needs to come off. These pieces here, they come off even easier than the other foot. But you do got to get in there and pry. Well, now I can see the bottom, and I can give the frog a little pry and see what's underneath there. You can see where it's starting to tear on its own. That's pressure, so he's backing up because it's uncomfortable. It doesn't hurt, but okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and go in there and find that true tip of frog. You can see it's right there, about more than a ½ inch back from where it was. Okay, so now I'm gonna take the rest of this dead frog off. to the back of the collateral grooves. Just because it's rock hard. Can't get that with my knife. I mean, I can, it's just really hard to do. Take the inside of these heels down while I'm here, because it's gonna be hard to get that in there with a knife or. And see where he's wearing that perfectly himself. And that's where I want to bring everything to, just a little bit past that, so that it comes back to this all the way around in a couple of weeks, and then hopefully not go longer than 3 weeks for the trim. So he'll be set up to the optimum time of this trim would be between the 2nd and 3rd week. That would be what it felt the best to him and working the best for him. There's again the true tip underneath there. This is just chalky dead bar and sole jammed down in that. But this is not carving the sole. This is all just dead sole.
Exfoliating dead layers.
Yeah, exfoliating dead layers over the top of an extremely thick live sole. Just finding the bottom of this central sulcus. The back of the seed of corn. Give him his foot back. Just ask for it. Here I'm just going to take the rough edges off everything. Find that central sulcus. Roll the inside of the heels. I want this to be a smooth transition, not a recurve and not a flat spot. Just a nice
a roll, not a ramp.
Roll, yeah, not a ramp. Okay. put this right here. It's a lot of clearance in the frog there. And that's a supple frog. See that?
Tire rubber.
Yeah, it's like tire rubber. Thick tire rubber.